I'm Heather.
And I'm Desiree.
And you're listening to
the Perpetually Overdue Podcast. Hello, friends, and welcome to another week of the Perpetually Overdue Podcast. My name is Desiree.
And I'm Heather.
And this week is a fun episode because we are going to blindly react to Reddit stories of Am I the Asshole? We got a couple friends to search up some fun stories for us so that we wouldn't know anything about them other than the titles. And we picked out a few and we're going to react to them now, live, completely blind. So you're going to get our genuine reactions. And I am so excited and scared to figure out what shit show these people got themselves into.
Yeah, I remember Am I the Asshole becoming a really popular thing. I mean, there are entire social media accounts that are just dedicated to Am I the Asshole? I've watched a few. My blood pressure definitely went up. And I was like, I can't do this. Because it's mostly relationships that people tend to talk about. And I mean, obviously, our whole world is made up of relationships. It's not just romantic. It's everything. But none of them are ever lighthearted or even remotely funny. They're always like the most dramatic, I cannot believe humans act this way kind of thing. And I'm always so frustrated. It's always somebody's fucking mother-in-law and somebody's husband who is just the worst. And I feel so bad for the person who is like, am I the asshole? And I'm like screaming at the screen, no, boundaries, all the therapy talk. So I'm excited to get into these that are hopefully not going to enrage me too much because I will definitely share my opinion if so.
Oh, but it will be fun to listen or watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And it will be interesting because a lot of these stories, from what I remember, usually if they've been out for a while, people have already supposedly decided overall whether they're the asshole or not. Something in the bottom of the story, what the general public decided. So I'll find it interesting to see if we agree or not.
Especially because I would say like 99% of the time, at least of the videos that I have seen, the person that's asking if they're the asshole is not the asshole. It's usually the other people in the story. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe there's going to be some rare occasions in which we disagree with that.
I'm excited. So we are looking at our phones because we have the stories there and we're going to be reading off of them from that.
Don't judge me by my phone case. I don't like it either. This is a fresh one from 4 days ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So we might not know exactly what everybody's general consensus is.
I need a sip to prepare.
I know.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but it could be.
I would not mind.
Okay. Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired for his repeated visible dick print? Already super intrigued.
I need to know the details.
19 female, am interning part-time, and we all dress casually. I was alone in a room at my office one morning, and my coworker Josh, late 20s male, came and started chatting with me. When I turned to face him, I could clearly see the outline of his erection. Okay.
Oh, so it's not even just
pause.
Wait a second.
This is not a dick print. If he is fully chubbed up, that is not.
That's a whole different. Okay. That's a whole different ball game.
At least that's what she's saying. He was wearing thin sweatpants, and they left nothing to the imagination. We know what those sweatpants are like.
Especially if they're gray. Every romance girl's dream.
I didn't say anything. After he left, I just went back to work. But also, why is he wearing sweatpants at work?
Because she said they dress casually.
That's a little too casual in my opinion.
I agree.
I ignored it that first time, but it kept happening. Josh would come alone to chat, and each time he was visibly hard. And I could see it through his flimsy shorts or sweatpants or thin dress pants. Like he didn't even act embarrassed or try to hide it. He'd just stand there like it's nothing. He acts normal around everyone else, and this hasn't happened any other time I've seen him. Okay, so she has other instances to compare to.
Okay.
Not with others around, just when it's only us. I didn't bring it up to anyone yet. I just didn't want to appear dramatic and didn't want to make myself a target. Then he started making comments. Okay, I see where this is going. It's hot out. I had to wear these shorts today. So, drawing attention. One day, Josh came over and he asked me to come to his apartment nearby over lunch.
What? Oh, no.
And as he was leaving, he said, all right, I've got to go to the bathroom to take care of something. See you around. Ew.
No,
Ew,
no,
ew, ew.
no, absolutely not.
Why would you, I have a story that actually relates to this. So, while glancing down, he said this. He clearly had an erection and the outline was clear. That was it for me. I went to HR and reported everything. HR put Josh under review and he ended up being fired with cause. Now some of my coworkers are icing me out. One of my coworkers sarcastically muttered, I made sure to wear proper pants today. Of course, it had to be a dude. Didn't want anyone to get any ideas. While I was having lunch near some of them and they laughed, my boss has been talking to me less and I feel alienated. I just wanted Josh to stop. Am I the asshole here? Okay. Well,
wow.
That, first of all,
wow.
Women have faced all manner of sexual harassment, and it doesn't matter how subtle or how obvious it is, it always ends up being the woman's fault. Let's be honest. The woman is victimized by the man who's sexually harassing her and victimized by the people who thinks that she's overreacting. The comments from the coworkers are abhorrent and inappropriate, especially for a work setting. They should be minding their business. This is not a, middle school playground where you're just going to tease and bully somebody. I've been in a work environment like that before. I worked with all men and they used to harass me to the point where I complained to my boss and then I got let go. And they didn't even give me the decency of going and collecting my things. They had me meet up with them at a local coffee shop in public, which is where they fired me, as if I was going to make some sort of insane scene, which was not going to be the case. I was just going to get my stuff and go.
Likely.
But just confronting the behavior, and mind you, this boss had told me that when I complained about it previously, because I complained about it before my breaking point. When I complained about it previously, I was basically told, like, boys will be boys. This is, all these men have wives and they have to act a certain way at home. So here we want it to be an environment in which they can act freely. But mind you, no other person in that job was getting the same treatment that I was getting or the same harassment that I was getting. So it was very targeted. I was one of two females, but I was the only one that worked up in the front with where the guys were. It was... yeah.
And I'm sorry, who the fuck are you when you go home? Your wife deserves to know what the shit show you are, because how you are with your friends, if you can't be that way with the person you married and you have to be a whole different persona because I have to be with the boys.
Yeah.
That says a lot about you also, how sad, and the foundation of your marriage is already off, but good luck with that. And it is some bullshit that it's like, you want to be boys because we're all together? Why does that have to include demeaning and harassing a female in your presence?
Yeah, and all I was asking for was them to stop throwing things at me. Like, they would throw... because it was... I used to work for a guitar pedal company. I don't need to protect them. Fuck it. But I used to work for a guitar pedal company in Kansas City. Look it up. And... and they're Christian, so that tells you everything you need to know. But yeah, they would throw like knobs at me and things like that. They would just like harass me throughout the day while I was like trying to do my job. Nobody else was getting that same treatment.
Of course. And then of course, it's not serious. We're just playing. We're blah, blah.
We're just playing. Except I was like hardly ever included in things. I wasn't allowed to go on trips with them because I was a female. And sometimes the way that they talked to me, especially the guy who used to do shipping, like he used to be very condescending the way that he used to talk to me. And I was much younger then, so I really didn't have a huge backbone when it came to that kind of situation, especially like a work environment. And I remember the owner and the manager were the ones that fired me outside of this coffee shop, and the manager couldn't even look at me. His eyes were all red, like he was getting emotional. And I was like, well, if you know this is wrong, then you should probably say something. But no, they didn't say anything. Oh, we'll give you a glowing recommendation for your next job. They're lucky I didn't sue their asses because they had no reason to fire me.
Yeah,
there was no reason.
It was wrongful termination. Yeah.
It was wrongful termination. And the only reason why I didn't sue their asses is because I felt bad for their families and because this was their provision. But in hindsight, I should have done it. In hindsight, I was held back by my Christian beliefs of turn the other cheek bullshit, and I didn't do it, and I should have done it.
And it fucking pisses me off because if you are older men and you can't look at a younger female that you take under your wing and want to protect her like a little sister, and the fact that wasn't even in your mindset, it's disgusting to me, especially because these are so-called wholesome Christian men who should be these honorable, good-hearted people, and yet you hire this female into your place. I mean, there's so many things wrong and issues just with the whole double standard bullshit they pulled and all that stuff. But even with that aside, it's like the fact that it didn't even cross your mind to want to protect a woman in your presence and space.
Especially when my boss, the first time I confronted him about it, he admitted to me that the way that they treated me was not the greatest and that he should say something. He should, but he wasn't going to.
Because he doesn't want to look bad with his boys.
Exactly. But back to this story. So the harassment of women, and then it makes you second guess yourself of like, oh, was I overreacting? Was I making a big deal out of nothing? No. And the fact that your own boss can't even be professional and put aside any sort of feelings that he might have. I don't know if he was like buddies or they, because I'm not going to assume that her boss is a male. I don't know if the boss was buddies with this person. What personal issue could you possibly take with this situation? It has nothing to do with you.
You are not the asshole. And what's even more upsetting is that you were 19, and the fact that you were, for something like this at 19 years old, at any age it was wrong, but as a 19-year-old young woman to feel uncomfortable, obviously so, with this scenario, and then be basically ostracized because of it and made to feel in the wrong is disgusting. You were so wronged in this situation in every way.
I 100% agree with that. First of all, he was in his late 20s, so he was the more grown person in this scenario, and he took advantage of the fact that she was young. And so there's that. There's the fact that he was making comments in front of her, so it wasn't just the visible erection. It was trying to draw attention to it by making comments about his clothing. And they're sly comments. You know, they're comments that he's aware of in an isolated context he's not going to get in trouble of. But couple that together with everything else. Like, why does she need to come to your house during her lunch break? What possible motive or reason would you have for her to go there? It's not appropriate. You're not friends. You're just co-workers, so she doesn't need to come to your house. She politely declined. And then for him to follow that up and saying, like, I need to take care of something is so creepy.
Which just makes me even think what he would have tried to pull off if he had her alone in his place.
So I was in a dating relationship. I don't know, it's a situationship. But I met a guy off of a dating app, and it turned out that he was somebody from a community that I used to be a part of, that we were no longer a part of. And so we had that in common. We sort of commiserated over that situation. And we went on a couple dates, and we were sexually active with each other. I remember I was menstruating, and I was still pretty new to sex. So I wasn't really comfortable with having sex on like my heavy period days. And so I figured I'll just be honest. I'll just tell him. And his response to me was like, well, we can do other things. So in other words, I need you to still continue to take care of me, even though you're on your cycle. And I was just kind of like, wow, this person has no self-control. They can't even, for this one time that I'm saying no, cannot respect that. So I just kind of laughed it off initially because I didn't know him, I guess, well enough to be like, okay, is he being an asshole here? Or is he really just joking? He let it go instantly. So I was like, okay, maybe it was just a joke. Not my kind of joke, but whatever. And then I stayed over that night, And I remember him all of a sudden in the middle of the night, he was rubbing my back. He was getting physical. And I was just like, I just told this bitch that I'm on my period. I don't want to have sex. Like, I should be able to say no. And he was like, I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I do remember holding my ground. Like, I don't want to have sex. It's the middle of the night. I'm really tired. And he's just like, God, you're so sexy or something like that. And I was just like, And I was like, I just don't. And then he was like, I have like an erection or something. I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, like I said, but I was like, okay, what do you want me to do about it? And he was like, I guess I could go handle it in the bathroom if that's okay with you. And I'm literally, why are you asking me this? Clearly, you're asking me because you want me to handle it, which is not my fucking problem. No. So I said, go ahead, because I wasn't going to cave in. And it was weird though, because I was like, are you going to be like all loud? I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. It just grossed me out because I don't know. It just felt like such a weak move to me.
Yeah, it was. That was pansy ass bullshit.
And then that was the last time that we ever hung out, because I was like, the next morning I was just like, I don't really like the fact that my no was not being respected, and that you tried more than once to get around it in some way. And yeah, it's always when you're cute and playful about it, that is the get out of jail free card for people who are inappropriate. And I'm talking about both ways, both men and women. Oh, I was only joking. Oh, I was only blah, 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 blah. But had that person really taken it seriously and was like, oh yeah, I'm up for that, you wouldn't have turned them down. You wouldn't have been like, oh, I was just kidding. Just
joking. Exactly.
No, you would have been all for it. So don't even with that shit. So I know what it's like to be told something and have the insinuation of like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom to go handle something. Okay, go take a shit. I don't know. Like, what are you talking to me about? You didn't have to
announce it to me. Like,
no.
Exactly.
Not to mention, if you're in a workplace setting and somebody goes to the bathroom to masturbate, no, inappropriate, because likely that is a public bathroom with several stalls in it, and even if it is a private bathroom, your workplace is not a place for you to be doing that shit.
No,
so not. And the fact that he was in his late 20s, he should have known better. It's creep vibes the whole way.
Absolutely.
Creep vibes the whole way. To be honest, this poor girl, not only were you not in the wrong, but you were a victim, and then you were victim blamed. I would start looking for another job, because this is not a work environment that you want to be in.
I hope if you're still there, unfortunately, I definitely also suggest that is not a normal work setting. That is not a work setting you should tolerate. And I know that being younger, you're probably new to the workforce now and thinking you have to suck it up. You don't.
No. There are other options out there. I mean, I don't know what you do for a living, so I can't say definitively, but you should at the very least be looking for something else to leave this job, because if your own boss is icing you out and your coworkers are poking fun of you, you're being harassed. That's what's happening. And what is HR going to do? Fire everybody? No, that's not going to happen. I will say my only critique of this girl, and people can disagree with this, is that I felt like there should have been some middle steps that should have been taken before immediately going to HR. I think that it's very difficult for women to stick up for themselves and to confront the person. I would have probably confronted that person. I don't know if I would have been able to do it at 19 though. So I will say that.
Either. And alone, I wouldn't have wanted to do that.
No, you wouldn't have been alone. You would have preferably gone to somebody that is higher above you. You would have told them the situation, and you would have all three sat down together and had a conversation. And hopefully that behavior would have ceased and he would have left you alone. And then if that didn't happen, then I would have gone to HR and I would have. But obviously HR is not just going to fire somebody without due cause. There was ample evidence and reason. And who knows who else in that office he was doing this to. Maybe this is not the first time that somebody has complained about his behavior.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
So typically yes, sexual harassment is now taken more seriously than it used to be, which is amazing. But typically a first offense of that kind, especially if she could have had text messages, blah, blah, blah. But it's all hearsay at this point, right? How she feels, the things that she said that he said, it's all hearsay. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they did end up firing him may allude to there being more to the story that maybe even she doesn't know about, and that maybe this isn't even his first time. So all that to say, take the guilt off your shoulders, girl. Yes. Like, he did not deserve to be there, to be in your presence, and neither do the rest of these people. I would start looking for another job because you shouldn't have to put up with this shit.
Agreed. All right. Next, am I the asshole for pretending to think beans in chili are woke to prank my cousin who is obsessed with being anti-woke and who loves chili? Oh God, here we go. I can't even. I don't know if I'm prepared for this.
Such a random thing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My cousin is known. They're known for making chili. And it's a guy. Okay. And he's good at it. Mm-hmm. He makes his own chili flakes from his secret combination of various dried chilies. It has a very nice kick. It's like the perfect amount of spice. It's hot, but not too hot. He also always adds kidney beans, not canned beans either. Anyways, for the past 2 or 3 years, my cousin has become obsessed with all this bullshit about what is and isn't, quote, woke, and how, quote, woke things are the end of the world. He's always been a good dude, so I don't know what his bag is, but he's completely obsessed. It's annoying. So the other weekend, I was at his place and he was making his famous chili. So I got the idea for a little prank. I was like, I'm surprised you still put beans in your chili. He was like, what? Why? I was like, beans in chili are so woke. Everyone is saying so. He was like, what do you mean? And he was like genuinely concerned, as if this was something serious. I said something like, yeah, beans in chili are woke. The original conservative Texans who made chili only used meat and chili. San Francisco liberals started adding beans to their chili in the 60s because so many hippies were vegetarian.
She had history.
Holy shit.
She did her research. Good for her.
Did. She did not play. Okay. Now all the woke scientists are saying beans are a better protein source than meat. He didn't say anything to that.
Oh my God.
I kind of just assumed he'd know I was fucking with him and get the joke. We have always fucked around with each other and jokes about and all, but he was quiet all dinner. She just blew his mind.
She did.
Just yesterday, I was back again at his place and he was making his chili again. There were no beans.
Oh my gosh.
It was a totally different chili. This guy has been making his chili with beans for like 15 years. I was like, what's up? Where are the beans? He was like, I don't fuck with that woke shit. I was like, what? He was like, beans and chili are woke. Even you know that.
Even you know that, as if she wasn't the person to deliver that information to him in the first place. For real, this is, you know what? I can see why she did this. He's such a fucking easy target. Yep. Go ahead.
Everyone else was like, what? Because what? I was like, dude, I was just fucking with you. He got really, all caps, angry. He dumped his chili in the sink and told everyone to go home. I thought he was pranking me back or something, but he was serious. The dude totally lost it. He texted me later and said this exact thing. I researched this online and it turns out you really were lying to me. Beans are not woke. How could you do this? We went back and forth for a bit. His position is, even though we have historically pranked each other, I went, quote, too far. That I, quote, betrayed him and I, quote, made him question his chili. I tried to ask him if this at all made him think he cared too much about woke. Like, what if beans in chili was woke? So what? He ignored that and demanded I apologize. Did I take this too far?
No.
Wow.
Is this where we are right now?
I need a drink.
Is this where we are now? For real though. Like, the woke shit has gotten so out of hand. so
Yes.
insane that this man would actually believe her when she said that beans are woke. Like,
And then
what person with 2 brain cells to rub together would think that that wasn't a joke?
And the fact that you went out of your way, took your 15-year famous recipe, and removed a key ingredient over that?
You know, at this point, and where we are in this country, and the things that people say, and the immense brainwashing, because let's just be honest, Donald Trump is responsible for this woke propaganda bullshit.
Yep.
Right? The term woke has existed since the civil rights movement, okay? And it was a way for Black people to communicate to other Black people, hey, stay woke. In other words, stay alarmed, stay vigilant, keep your eyes open, protect yourself, stay safe, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
Woke completely got transformed in Trump's campaigns, and it became this term that is blanketed over anything that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that they don't like is now considered woke. And it was already ridiculous when he was talking about how teaching gender education or teaching about race, about slavery was woke. But now it's gotten to such a ridiculous point that now somebody would believe that beans, a food group, would be considered woke. I'm not shocked that he's like, I don't mess with that woke shit, because he's already far gone. Whatever Fox News, Joe Rogan, Manosphere bullshit that he's been listening to that has been brainwashing him, the propaganda of Trump and his administration, he's already there. Like, there's no coming back from that. Not really, unless he wants to. There would have to be something more than kidney beans that could bring him back from something like that.
Goodness gracious.
It's the fact that he's so concerned. He is so terrified of this invisible monster that does not exist called wokeness, that he was, like you said, willing to change his 15-year recipe because of it. And the tantrum that he threw after he found out that it wasn't real. Mind you, he admitted that they have a history of going back and forth and pranking each other. But
and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That lying and saying you put beans, you know they're woke. Like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back of like a family tradition of how many years? That's wild.
You can tell that this is a person that lacks common sense, because anybody else would have been like, shut the fuck up. I know that that's not true. Or, and also, this proves a really excellent point in that people don't fucking research. They just take people's words and run with them. So you hear a lot from the right propagandist machine that's what the left does. Mind you, I am nonpartisan. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I hear that a lot. They're not based on facts, blah, blah, blah. It's fake news, right? But in my opinion, it's the people that are Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, that tend to not do any research on any of the things that they're being told. They just take it and they run with it. Clearly, he didn't do any research before he took the beans out, because then he said to her, oh, I did research and you were lying.
Like, you had time. Like, it never occurred to him after that first dinner that obviously time passed before the next chili dinner. He never thought, let me see if this is true. No, he just automatically stewed in it and just let it like rile him up to the point that he was like, I'm taking beans out. And it took until after that for him to actually research. That's
after
wild.
She admitted it was a lie. So thank you, sir, because you just proved the point that everybody has been saying, that y'all on the brainwashing just completely removes common sense or any research or any deep dive into anything. And you just take everything at face value. And then to dump something that you already made, kick everybody out. Mind you, this is one person that did this to him. Yeah, he kicks everybody out of the house. Man, I feel for this girl. Girl, your cousin's gone.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Who you knew is gone.
I don't think you're an asshole and you didn't take it too far, because the fact that it was a stupid joke, it was so nonsensical that the fact he took it seriously, no one could have predicted that, honestly. So I don't think you took it too far. And again, you guys had a history of fucking with each other. But the fact that he reacted that way, the core problem is deeper.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's way deeper. It's not even about what you did. It's the fact that he obviously, like Heather was saying, he's already far gone. He's in a whole other mental space, believing the juice that he drank from this MAGA bullshit that has corrupted our entire nation. And so you got kind of bigger problems to deal with on his end as it is. That's going to be probably a little rough to navigate. But I don't think you took it too far. If anything, this showed you how deep he's gone and his true colors kind of a deal. So
yeah, because I don't think it has anything to do with the chili, even though that's what he said. He's like, oh, you messed with my chili. I don't think it has anything to do with that, because you could just put the beans back, my dude. Like, it's not that serious.
Exactly.
You fucked with his ideology.
Yes.
And that is what shook him more. And it also showed him how easily fooled and naive he is. And I think that probably shook him up more than anything else and pissed him off more than anything else. And I don't know what your relationship is with him. And I mean, obviously you have somewhat of a close relationship that you guys joke back and forth, but I don't know if you've ever talked to him about his whole stance on wokeness and what his ideology is, but maybe a more serious conversation needs to happen, because if there's no middle ground that you guys can find with each other, in the sense of, you let bygones be bygones. You can apologize if you feel like you need to apologize to mend the relationship. And if he's still holding it against you and ices you out and refuses to forgive you, I think at that point that it's way bigger than chili.
Yeah.
And if he's willing to sacrifice his relationship with you over this practical joke because you fucked with his ideology, then I think that there needs to be some separation, some time apart, because where do you go from there at that point? Like, how do you fix that? Because if you're not in agreement with him, you shouldn't have to be in order to maintain that relationship. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. That's a whole other couch session.
Oh, so, yeah. Ooh, rough. Next, on to the next one. That got way deeper than we even intended to. It started off funny.
For
and
real.
Then it got deep. All right. You ready for this next one?
I don't know.
Am I the asshole for telling my sister to find another babysitter after she said, I don't know, real stress because I don't have kids?
Ooh, and as two people who don't want children, this is going to be interesting.
But you know what? I'm going to be objective.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to know what the whole story is. So boom. That's how it starts off. So boom. I'm 30, female, no kids, no husband, living my best soft life. I got a decent job. Yep. My apartment stays clean and I sleep like a baby every night. My sister, 33, female, has 3 little gremlins under the age of 7 and swears she's the only person on earth who's ever been tired. I know what that's like. Last week, she hits me up on some, hey, can you watch the kids this weekend? Me and my husband need a break before we lose our minds. Mind you, you chose this, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that you're not entitled to a break, but you chose this life. Cool. I was about to say yes until she hits me with, I mean, it's not like you got anything going on.
See, you were doing so well, sis, until you pulled that shit.
This is, you don't have kids. You're probably just chilling anyway. Like, girl, did you really just call me a free trial version of a human being? I like this girl a lot. So I told her flat out, nah, you can find someone else since my chill life apparently ain't stressful enough to be respected. Okay, who is this girl? Because we need to be friends.
I know!
Now she's mad. Telling the whole family I abandoned her. Oh my God, that is so overdramatic. The melodrama begins when she's clearly drowning. Mind you, again, you chose to have these children. It's nobody's responsibility when you have children but your own. We live in a very individualistic society. This is no longer a society of like, it takes a village. Because guess what? The village has to agree to that. And that I'm selfish because I wouldn't step up just this once. I guarantee you this is not the only time that she has asked her to babysit.
But that was her story to bring the family against her.
Yeah. Like, girl, you disrespected me mid-request. You fumbled your favor bag. Now our mom's on the phone like, I get you're upset, but it's for the kids. And I'm like, that's cute, but I'm not your emergency childcare plan just because I'm not sleep deprived and covered in goldfish crumbs. So am I the asshole for refusing to babysit after she shaded my whole lifestyle like I'm not out here thriving? Oh, okay.
Ooh, there's so much, okay, that can be said. Ooh.
First of all, you are not the asshole.
No.
And we will both tell you why.
Yes.
And it's not just because this is not a childless versus child.
It's more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it is way more nuanced than that. It has been a long-standing issue that people who are childless, especially women, have no purpose, nothing going on in their lives if they don't have children. Nothing can be further from the truth. In fact, a lot of childless people have more going on because their whole life doesn't revolve around children. And that's totally fine. I am of the mentality that if you're going to be a parent, you should give 110% to your kids because that's what you wanted, right? Like you wanted that. But tell me why there's a whole Reddit list out there of people who regret having kids. And it sounds to me a lot like this woman is regretting her choices and she's taking it out on her sister because she talks about how they needed a break before they lose their minds. Red flag number 1. Talking to the family about how she won't help when they're drowning. Red flag number 2. You chose to have these children. Okay? You could have stopped at 1. You could have stopped at 2, but you chose to have 3.
Very close together.
And what comes with that. So nobody is obligated to bail you out of your own decisions. It's called accountability. It's called responsibility. You are the parent, you and your husband. Imagine, I'm like, my mother was a single mother to 6 kids, okay?
Dude.
And she would have never had the audacity to say something like that or to treat somebody who didn't have children as if they were less than because they didn't have children. Because let me tell you, you can have a lot of stress in your life that does not revolve around having children. Just because you don't, right. Just because you don't have kids does not mean that you don't have stress in your life, does not mean you don't have a schedule, does not mean you don't have things to do. Is this really the mentality of people with kids?
Yes.
Like you forgot what it was like to not have kids? Because there was a time in your life when you didn't have kids, right? So you forgot what it was like to live outside of having your kids and the fact that you had a whole life before your kids came into the picture. Yeah. Does it add stress? Yeah. Does it add strain? Yeah. Are you more sleep deprived than you were then? Of course. I'm not denying any of those facts. But to throw that in the face of your sister when you're asking her for a favor.
That was the worst strategy to get what you want.
Right? As though she owes you something when she's not the one that decided to have these kids. You were the one that decided to have them. And I don't understand people's mentality of, oh, well, because we're blood related, I get to just treat you however I want to, and you should just take it.
And you have an instant obligation to drop your life when family calls. And I'm sorry, but here's the thing. And I'm glad that as times are getting more modern, people are starting to understand themselves more. People are starting to learn the magical word called boundaries and actually enforce them. Our generation is learning it is not wrong to set boundaries towards your family members.
Yeah.
Even those you're close with. It's not an insulting thing. It is a healthy thing to do as a human being, period. But it almost comes off as it is an insult, an offense against those you put boundaries towards. Yeah. And it's like, it's not about you. It's about me and my health and what's going to keep me mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy. Just because my lifestyle maybe looks lesser than yours does not mean that I have no right to say no. I have no right to want to lay in bed in my pajamas, put on a damn binge Netflix TV show movie for the next 6 hours. That is in my right to do. Whereas obviously others look at it and go, you had 6 hours where you did nothing. So you should be available to me.
No.
Sweetie. No. We're not playing that anymore.
And people should be careful because we are the generation that are cutting off toxicity in our life. If people cannot respect boundaries, and the only time a person doesn't respect a boundary is when they benefit from you not having one.
Exactly.
So you have a certain relationship with somebody, it's not working for you, it's not healthy for you, you set a boundary. they don't want to respect it, that is not your responsibility. Their response is their responsibility. If they have an issue with you putting up a boundary, that means that they benefit from you not having that boundary in the first place. It's also extremely petty that she went to the family and tried to stir up drama there to get people on her side so that they can go and correct the sister.
Which they did. The mother, so it worked because the mother went, and though she was trying to like do it gently, she was still putting pressure of going, you should give in and help your sister.
Yeah, she was definitely trying to see both sides of the story and be very neutral, very Switzerland with it. But the problem is that that's not something that you can do in this situation. First of all, these are two grown folk.
Exactly.
And I understand that these are your kids, but they need to figure it out amongst them. They need to have a conversation. And see, this is the problem when people don't have conversations. Talk about the things that are not appropriate. And I don't blame how she responded to it because it was so uncalled for. And this is why I think that she maybe is having some, I don't want to say, I've read so many Reddit stories about parents who regretted having kids. Maybe not that she regrets having kids, but maybe she's a little bit envious of her sister's lifestyle. And like you said, if she wants to sit around all day and watch Netflix, marathon a show, and eat like ho-hos and pizza and just be a lazy ass all day, that's the life that she chose, and she gets to live that life. Don't punish her because she didn't want to have kids. The lashing out was so uncalled for. And the thing is, she is putting up a boundary. She's like, I would have said yes to you, but she was disrespected me.
Exactly.
And it was completely uncalled for. And I commend her for doing that, because if she hadn't placed that boundary, if she would have said, that is not an appropriate thing for you to say to me, but I'm still going to do it, that tells her what it would tell a child, that when you say something, you don't actually mean it, or you're willing to accept it regardless. So the fact that she stood her ground and was like, no, I'm not going to do it, because if I go back on what I said, then I'm allowing this disrespect into my life. I'm allowing this behavior. She needs to check herself. She needs to change her attitude. She needs to apologize, honestly, for what she said, because it was completely uncalled for.
And you know that comment is not the first time. That was already stemmed from who knows how many jabs she's been giving throughout the years about that.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. And granted, we're only hearing one side of the story, but it seems so out of the blue.
Like she was ready. She was ready to throw that instantly, like out there.
Especially when you're asking for a favor. It's almost like, let me throw this in there to ensure that she's going to do it for me, because I want her to know that my life is so much harder. But again, I'm sick of people who are upset with their own choices and taking it out on other people who didn't make the same choices that they did. Okay, neither Desiree nor I want to have children. Desiree's known her whole life. For me, it's something that I thought of extensively. I got married. I talked about it with my partner. We entertained the idea for a minute, and then we decided no. I am not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for the life that I have. I'm not going to apologize for the person that I married. I'm not going to apologize for any of that, because those were decisions and choices that I made, some of which was out of my control. And I have many nephews and nieces that I love to death, would do anything for. Never once, even when my sister was drowning, has she ever lashed out at me because I don't have children. Never once has she made it seem like her life is better than mine, or more stressful than mine, or anything more than mine. We treat each other as equals. That's respect. There's a deeper issue going on here of disrespect between you and your sister that needs to get resolved. This isn't just about kids versus no kids. Because I don't have kids, my sister does, and never has it ever crossed her mind to say something that out of pocket to me. Never. Because she respects me. Clearly, there's a lack of respect between the two of you that needs to get worked out. And in my opinion, you don't need a mediator. You guys need to just sit down and talk, because you're both adults. You don't need to be babysat.
All right. And last is, am I the asshole for refusing to stop wearing my lucky dress because my best friend thinks it's embarrassing? Sidebar. I'm wondering if
I knew you were going to say something.
I'm wondering.
I fucking knew it.
I am wondering if I'm going to feel sympathetic towards this person because I didn't call it luckily.
It's not lucky.
It wasn't, but it was a blue shirt. And it was the most comfortable fucking blue shirt. And honestly,
you also had a jacket too.
The blazer.
No, it was the zip-up hoodie jacket that you wore all the time that was also blue. So she has favorite clothing items. We'll just say that.
And we'll say that I definitely give them a full life.
They get to see the world.
Yeah. So, there have been times my friends have tried to hide and burn certain things.
I have never taken a clothing article from you.
I feel like there was a time, I know for sure the other person that we know of, her and my mom tried to hide the blue shirt so that they could throw it away at one point.
No. Look, I let my sister, because my sister has the same thing with clothes, but to a ridiculous point where she will have holes. See, but here's the thing. I have a shirt. It's a Slayer shirt that has been modified with bleach. So it has it almost like a tie-dye effect, but with bleach. And it has holes everywhere. It's a grunge look. My thing is, she has holes in her crotch area, in her booty, and she don't like wearing underwear sometimes. So it's more than just, it has holes, it's old, you should throw it away, which I do agree with. If it does have holes, maybe find something else to replace it with. Soft. I know, it's hard sometimes. There was no reason for her to continue to wear these leggings. Yeah. And I was like, girl, your whole booty hanging out. Come on now. Literally. So I get it. But I thought of you with this one. So go ahead.
So, I, 22 female, have this one dress that I absolutely love. It's nothing fancy, just a flowy sundress with little stars on it. Aww. But for some reason, every time I wear it, good things happen. I've gotten unexpected opportunities, free stuff, compliments from strangers, just randomly lucky moments. Obviously, I don't believe the dress has magical powers, but it makes me feel good, so I wear it a lot. Makes sense. My best friend Ava, 23 female, absolutely hates it. She says it's childish, overworn, and makes me look like I'm still in high school. Every time we go out and I show up in the dress, she rolls her eyes and says, "You're wearing that again?" It came to a head last weekend when we went out to brunch and I wore the dress. Halfway through, Ava sighed and said, "I can't take this anymore. Can you please just retire that thing?" I laughed it off, but she kept pushing, saying I looked stuck in the past and it was embarrassing to be seen with me in it. I told her she was being ridiculous and that what I wear doesn't affect her. She got mad and said I was acting like a child over a piece of clothing and that I needed to grow up.
And somebody's acting like a child.
And start dressing more maturely. I told her she was the only one making this an issue, and if my dress somehow offended her fashion sense, that's her problem, not mine. Now she's barely speaking to me, and a mutual friend said I should just drop the dress to keep the peace. But I feel like I shouldn't have to change something I like just because someone else doesn't approve. Am I the asshole? Wow.
Like, first of all, get better friends. Because holy crap. This is, you know what? This is very early 20s bullshit right now.
Which they are. Exactly. Very much so. And it's a little... it's giving me a little Mean Girls Regina George vibes. Like, the friend feels like she's one more fashionably apt, and she's like the one who is stepping into a maturity in their age, and that her friend is still immature and still in high school mode. So she feels like she has this authority to be speaking over her friend and demanding for her to do something with something that's her own body, and it's the clothes she's putting on her body. The fact that you think you have any say to that extent. There's one thing making a funny comment like, "Girl, that shirt, it's got holes, maybe you should get rid of it." That's one thing. But like, she has dragged this into an issue to the point that she's making her friend feel uncomfortable every time they're together and she's in it. She's pretty much insulting her by calling her childish and immature. And then to the point that now she made this grand demand and then is pretty much giving her friend the silent treatment because she chooses to still wear one dress that makes her feel good.
Look, here's my thing. Somebody is acting childish in this scenario, but it's not the girl with the dress.
Here.
First of all, y'all are all adults. You don't get to dictate how somebody else lives their life. You get to voice your opinion, and then you get to respect that person's boundary. If a dress, to this girl with the dress, if a dress is going to make or break your friendship was not as solid as you thought it was.
Yep.
Because there's no scenario in my mind where you and I would lose an entire 20 plus year friendship over something as petty as a piece of clothing.
As a fashion statement.
It's so beyond me. She said that this dress makes her feel good. In a world where insecurity runs rampant, when we're constantly looking in the mirror and finding every little thing that is wrong with us, to have something that makes you feel secure, to have something that makes you feel comfortable and beautiful is a huge deal. And that is something that should be celebrated.
Yes.
Not ultimatumed or ridiculed of like, you need to either choose the dress or choose me. Girl, choose the dress.
For real.
Choose the dress.
Bye.
And then your other friend is also not a good friend to you, asking you to give up something that clearly means a lot to you, something that you have a lot of happy memories in. Like you said, a lot of really good things have happened to you in that dress in order to keep the peace. Now, I get for people don't like confrontation. It makes them feel uncomfortable. But why is she over here telling you to be the one to compromise instead of talking to your friend and checking her over the fact that she's trying to dictate to you how you can and cannot dress? You are not a child.
It's a dress, people.
No, this is what it is. At the end of the day, she thinks that this is making her look bad.
Yes. And
she doesn't want to be seen. If your friend is that superficial that she feels like how you dress reflects poorly on her, you need to drop her. Yep. Because that is not somebody that values you as a person. She only values what you contribute to her. Exactly. So if you make her look good, then we're all good. And I don't know how long you've been friends with this person. I don't know what your friendship used to be like, but whatever direction your friend is going now is not a good direction for your friendship because she is valuing her image over you as a friend who has been there for her, who has loved her, who has cared for her, however many years that you have been friends. The fact that she can't value that over a stupid ass dress is just ridiculous to me. It's extremely immature. You're immature. Period, point blank. Get over yourself. And you deserve better friends. People who will celebrate the fact that you have something in your life that you love so much.
Exactly. Because like Heather said, body image and women is a huge, practically an epidemic. Like, it's really an issue that to its core for decades has driven teenagers to eating disorders, and it's still affecting women, everyone, but specifically women. It has been the major oppressed target of body image issues and how society has put pressures and all these things. So the fact for a young woman to find something that makes her feel good when she goes out in public is a major thing. And like Heather said, that deserves to be celebrated. Two, it also reminds me a lot of where we grew up in Miami. Miami girls in their 20s. These are the type of friendships that are sadly common, where it's very much about, there's a very certain fashion sense that women in the early 20s, at least years ago, when we were younger, very much carried. It was very much about...
It was designer.
It was very designer, chic. You got your pleated slacks and skirts and whatever. And those type of women, when they found themselves with other women who dressed more casually, they would put jokingly, quotation, pressure on them or make little jokes about how they dress, because it's very much about... They want to be the Serena Vanderbilts that are walking down the street and all of their fashion friends look the same. And for them, it's a power move, and it's bullshit, because at the end of the day, all of these people talk shit behind each other's backs, but then kiss each other's cheek when they're in each other's presence. And that is severely the vibes I'm getting, sadly, from your friend. And honestly, that is just going to lead into even deeper toxic behavior that is going to try to manipulate your life choices unless you stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Again, with a lot of these Am I the Assholes, it's way deeper than what the surface level issue is. This goes deeper than a dress, because if you get rid of the dress, if you give in now, then what is next? Oh, your hair, oh, your makeup, or this or that, or where you go to eat, and what kind of car do you drive.
What
it never
bag
ends.
you're carrying. Oh, you keep carrying that one bag. Like, shouldn't you buy a new one? Shouldn't you wear a better one?
That bag is fake. You should get a real one. There's never going to be an end in sight.
Nope.
And you will have to transform yourself into something that you're not, into something that you don't want to be, to please your friend. And for what? Your friend should like you for you, regardless of address. Let's be honest. This is not high school where you see the same people every day. Okay? Like, you're out there, you're living your life. The fact is that, yeah, you might repeat this dress quite a bit, and I hope you wash it. I'm assuming that you wash it and that you're hygienic, because that is a whole other problem in and of itself. But the likeliness is that there hasn't been a ton of people that have seen you in this dress. It just happens to be the people who are closest to you in your life, who should be the most supportive, who should give a flying fuck that you're wearing the same. I never cared. Desiree would wear that jacket over and over. She'd wear the shirt over and over.
I wear a lot of things over and over. I'm not a shopper. I have key clothing items that are comfortable, that fit, that feel flattering. So I will wear the shit out of things. I'll recycle, interchange. But I wear the same shit all the time. She sees me in a lot of the same stuff.
And let's be honest. Unless you are rolling in the dough, and even then, I don't think it's appropriate to be constantly cycling. Do you know how much waste that is? Do you know how many landfills are full with clothes that are only worn like once or twice and then tossed aside because we have to keep up this pretense of, oh, I have a different outfit every single day? No. And we're moving away from that, because more and more people are caring about the environment and the impact that fast fashion has made on the environment. More people are doing secondhand. This sweater I'm wearing right now is a secondhand sweater I got at a thrift store. And they're not cycling their wardrobe every season like people used to. It's impossible to keep up with the trends. I know, because every time I open a fucking Google tab, it's like, oh, skinny jeans are out. Oh, skinny jeans are in. Oh, this is the boot of the season. And then the next day, there's another boot of the season. Who can keep up with that shit? Wear what you want to wear. Honestly, it sounds cute. And as a woman who has worn a maxi dress before, girl, I can understand why you don't want to take it off. Those things are so fucking comfortable.
And it has stars on them.
Yeah, wear what you want to wear. Yeah. And if one day you decide that you want to give up that dress, it is your decision and your decision only.
Yep.
But I would recommend that you keep it tucked away in a box somewhere, because it does have a lot of special memories. You feel like it does bring you luck, and there's nothing wrong with that. And fuck her. And that other friend.
Yes, seriously.
The whole keep the peace thing. No.
That's some bullshit. Yeah.
Let me tell you something, as somebody who comes from a family who did this and has seen this pattern over and over again. Sweeping shit under the rug or doing something for the sake of peace never works. This issue will come up over and over and over again. The only thing that works, and this is for everybody out there, the only thing that works is confronting the issue, having an adult conversation about it, and coming to some sort of agreement, even if it's you agreeing to disagree. But at the end of the day, respect. You have to respect one another. And if there is no respect in the relationship, if there is no trust in the relationship, it is not a relationship that is going to last. I guarantee it. And you can save yourself some pain and some heartache by confronting that now and saying, hey, you need to value my friendship more than you need to value what I'm wearing. And if you don't, and if this is going to be the thing that breaks us up as friends, I'm sorry to see you go. Best of luck in your life.
Yep.
And with that said, this is a really fun episode. We'll definitely do more of these in the future.
Agreed.
But thank you so much. A call to action. This is kind of a weird episode to have a call to action, but actually, if you have any Am I the Asshole stories that maybe you've experienced or somebody that you know has experienced that you want to share, if it's not on Reddit already, then please drop it in the comments section. I would probably recommend doing it mostly on YouTube because TikTok, I've encountered, has like a certain word count limit, and then you'll have to post like a bajillion comments. Threads might be a good place. Instagram will be a good place either, because Instagram lets you endlessly comment. So those would be good places. And if they are drama filled, especially if there's mother-in-laws or husbands that treat their wives like crap involved, just know the reaction will be intense.
I had to tell friends that were looking for them for us to react blindly. I was like, maybe stay away from like any type of relational, toxic relationship, romance relationship stuff, because I think Heather will blow her top. So
yeah, I could really go on and on just because I have more empathy for people who get treated poorly, because I know it's hard to stick up for yourself sometimes, and you don't necessarily want to throw away your entire relationship over one situation. But I promise you, a lot of the times, that one situation is just one little peg in a long thread of instances where that person has been disrespected, that they haven't been considered, they've been treated poorly, and usually it's not an isolated incident, and it goes deeper than that.
As we saw today.
Exactly.
Was much more than what it seemed on the surface. So friends, make sure that you like this video, subscribe, comment, do all the things. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on a podcast platform, also follow us, leave comments, and more importantly, we really would appreciate if you guys could leave us a review on any podcast platform. That is huge for the algorithm. It helps others who would like our content to also find us. So thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
It really was.
I'm really excited to do another one.
It was fun.
We're definitely going to be doing more of these.
We'll
so stay
more.
tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed it, had a few laughs, and we'll see you guys again next week. Bye.